The legislature in 1995, the Texas legislature, was trying to constrict the role of the State Board of Education in textbooks, narrow its authority, and perhaps not have so much, how should we say, discontent over these issues. That doesn't seem to have occurred. The recent debate, as you both alluded to, over changes in social studies curriculum standards, ran so long that the vote, as you said, has been postponed, the first vote, until March. It's a hotly debated topic. So why is this causing such a stir? How do debates like this affect the future of Texas education of our children? Is that why this is so hotly contested? What's going on here?
I think first, the legislature did a very smart thing in 1995 in constricting the authority of the State Board of Education over textbooks for a couple of reasons. One that's very political and one that's very practical. The practical reason is that, as David mentioned, the curriculum standards become the bid specs for publishers. And if the publishers suspect that whatever they present is open for, all-out political warfare, it's much more difficult to come up with a textbook to present. So the practical effect of constraining the State Board's authority over textbooks was so that publishers would actually get bid specs they could rely on and develop textbooks. That's critical, by the way, not just in Texas. Now, the publishing industry is changing quickly and dramatically, and every time I say this, it's less important than it was a month ago when I said it before. But it remains the case that as the second largest consumer of textbooks in the country, and one of California being the largest, and now they're broke. So we are, now the largest consumer of textbooks, at least for the time being, in the country. And we have a state adoption procedure, whereas in New York, publishers sell their textbooks district by district. So we have the statewide adoption. It puts a lot of pressure on publishers to publish a book that meets Texas's standards and then not expend the resources to publish an alternative book for, say, Kansas, Nebraska, and Ohio.
Although, Kathy, Race to the Top, I think, could definitely affect that.
I agree.
The publishers.
If there's a national standard,
yes,
it's going to make things a lot different here in Texas. And as I said, this particular point I'm raising becomes less important every minute. But it remains true today. So we have to see what happens. The political justification or the political reasoning in 1995 had to do with some big culture war battles. I mean, I can't put it any lighter. Culture war battles over, in particular, health and sex education at the State Board of Education. But there were battles over textbooks. And so the publishers had produced these textbooks, and all of a sudden the pressure was being mounted to change them either before they got there or to write something different than was in the curriculum standards. And I think the legislature responded by saying, not at the textbook stage, have these battles at the curriculum stage.
Well, our view in general on curriculum is that it is not rigorous enough. We have too many studies showing that students graduate with a high school diploma and then they are not ready for college level work. We have tons of students, over 200,000 high school graduates in 2006 were placed in remedial education or developmental education their first year in college because they could not do the appropriate reading, writing, and math. So our push high level on curriculum is to add rigor. So that was our involvement in the English language arts debate, was we need to have more writing. As we're designing these end of course exams, which, let me take a step back. So 2 sessions ago, the legislature decided to get rid of the tax test in 11th grade, which is the exit exam that many of you probably took to be able to graduate from high school. Rather than having one test to determine whether or not you were ready to graduate, they are moving towards end-of-course exams in high school. That'll start in the 2011-2012 school year for freshmen. And what that means is at the end of a course, say biology, you will have an end-of-course exam that'll cover just biology. So it won't be a cumulative test where you take, 3 different types of sciences in the tax test in 11th grade. You will take the test at the end of the course. They did this for math, science, English, and history. So there's 12 courses or exams being developed. And so on English, we were very involved with that debate. Let's have essays be part of the English 1, English 2, and English 3 end of course exams. And we would like to see essays added to history. Now, that did not happen. English has essays added, but history does not. And so we see the need for just an awareness of raising the rigor, raising the quality of what we're expecting from our students so that they're ready for college. So going back to what Kathy was saying on the culture wars, what's really interesting with why Texas is in the hot seat on this is, as she mentioned, we have a very large textbook market, and the Wall Street Journal loves doing little pieces on us because what happens in Texas is going to affect other states and their textbooks. Now, there's a couple other things to remember here. The curriculum is what determines what's going in the textbook, but it also is determining what is on the test. So whether that be the tax test that's in 3rd, 5th, and 8th grade, or what will be on the end of course exams. So it's very important that the main ideas that you want to teach students are in that. Now, teachers can always teach things that aren't in the curriculum as an add-on. So there's nothing preventing them from, oh, they didn't include this, but I want to add that person. They can do that. That is within their control and their freedom. But this is trying to figure out, we don't have time to teach everything we want to, so what are the main things? What are the main skills we need from our students, and what grade is it appropriate? And so it's really important, too, that it be a document that's useful to teachers, that it not use phrases that they don't understand. But this can be a big debate, but another problem we have is that some teachers just don't teach the curriculum. They either can't get through it in a year. I know in my U.S. history class in high school and at Texas Public School here in Houston, we stopped at like the end of the 60s. We didn't make it through current day events. There was just too much material to cover. So that's something to think about. And also, are we training our teachers on how to teach the curriculum? There are many different pieces. We can have the most amazing curriculum in the world and still not have an educated citizenry if our teachers aren't educated enough to teach that curriculum. And that's an issue that we have. Unfortunately, we're not recruiting the best and brightest into our classrooms. But that's another issue for another day.